and welcome back to Rugged Mountain Homestead. My name is Sarah, and today I want to share some things that are going on up at the homestead. Some are exciting and some are not so exciting, but I promised myself that I would always stay true and be transparent and let everyone know what is really happening. So yesterday was my day of planting out the garden. Dean has since completed the 5x40 bed, and we have been so busy filling it, doing the hugelkultur. The 5x24 bed has the hugelkultur in it, and it has been an almost impossibility to get him on camera with me. We've just been so incredibly busy, and it's like we are moving at warp speed now, which I really knew that spring and summertime would be. I just didn't realize that while I am semi-prepared, I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be, such as, you know, when I come in from the garden and from working with him all day, I am absolutely exhausted and I do not feel like cooking. And we've had sandwiches twice this week, and I've done some freezer meals and we've had leftovers from that, but it's just not my usual thing. And I have some things in the freezer, but we're running low. So I have to have a kitchen day this week. That is not the reason why for this video. So let me get back on topic here. I got the garden planted out. Extremely exciting. I've never had a garden that big. It's always been my heart's desire for many years now. Back in Virginia, I had a 10x10 raised bed garden, and I did some container planting on the back patio. For the past year and a half, my heart has hurt because I couldn't have a garden because we were moving. The house was being put up for sale, sold really fast. Just couldn't do it. The year before was in the middle of the pandemic, and it did my heart good to get my hands in the soil for a lot of different reasons that I'm sure everybody else went through. But I fought the squirrels that year. I put up a good fight, but they won a lot of the time. And Dean's father passed away in July, and we left town, of course, and went to Florida, and I had sweet tomatoes hanging on the vine, so tomato rich. It was incredible. So I called my daughter and I said, go over to the house, pick everything that's there and eat it. I don't want it going bad, while we're here. So she went to the house, she texts me and she says, Mom, what are you talking about? And I said, all those tomatoes hanging, I was trying to explain to her, look, and I was sending her pictures because I'd taken pictures on my phone. And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not what this plant looks like. I said, send me a picture of what the plant looks like. And she did. And I could have cried because you could see where squirrels had nibbled off at the vine and had just stolen. I had these sun gold tomatoes that were hanging like bunches of grapes. All that being said, I didn't have a harvest that year. And that's hard when you're a gardener. That's hard. Anyhow, I've been very excited about the gardening season this year. Hadn't had it for a while. Also been a little nervous and intimidated because I'm in a completely different climate. But also growing some varieties that are new to me, just trying to grow things new in a new place. So growing everything from seed this year. The only thing that I got that was a start was from Azure, and it was a comfrey start, and it was a strawberry plant start, which is still in the house. So I got everything planted out yesterday, all day in the garden. Looked beautiful. I was so tired. I thought about it. I was taking pictures. But I was like, I left my phone up at the house. I don't want to walk back up there and come back down. I'm too tired. Dean had gone into town to get a new water system. We had talked about that and what we're going to do. And I was praying for rain because there was a slim chance of it. And we live in an arid climate. And so I was praying for rain the whole time I was setting that up, because until we get the water system set up, I did not want to haul water. I was not being lazy. My body was screaming, but that's okay. So I wanted to take pictures and I didn't. I should have. I come up to the house. I get in the bathtub because I'm filthy. And I hear the thunder. I'm like, oh, yes. And it started getting dark in the bathroom. The clouds were rolling in. I was so excited. And it started to rain, a beautiful rain, not one of these like little showers that passes in 5 minutes, a beautiful rain. And about 10 minutes into the rain, I heard this little noise pinging on the windows. And I knew instantly from being out here last summer what it was. And I was like, no. I got out of the bathroom, came running to the window. It was hail. It was hail. Pea-sized hail. Not the teeny tiny little BB size. Pea size. I got on my boots. I went down there. I wasn't sure what to think. So I held out hope, and I was kind of like, well, the sun will come out and, you know, maybe they'll perk up or whatever. And you know, so I went out this morning and I said it was in the garden, I'm not going to lose faith. I'm not going to lose faith, because a lot of them are really beat up. And I have a couple tomato plants that I'm like, I don't know that they're going to make it. And my comfrey plant is really beat up. And it just looks so sad and pitiful. And I have felt sad all day today. Ever since this morning, I haven't gone back outside. And I went into town and ran errands instead, which I hate doing. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to show you, because I wanted to show these beautiful, lush gardens. I wanted to show that I got it all planted and how beautiful it was yesterday. Of course it needed water, but it was so gorgeous, because once I got them out of those 6-cell trays, my lettuce was already really getting thick here underneath the grow lights. But it was just bushing up by the handful, and I had like a dozen. It was so pretty. And, you know, my tomatoes looked great, and I had the yarrow and the oregano, and I can't explain it. Maybe, you know, if you're a gardener, I think you'll understand. I looked at it. It's so beat up looking that I thought of that little fish on that Disney movie, Finding Nemo, that had been flushed down the toilet several times. It's all scarred up. Its fins were banged up. I thought of that when I was looking at these plants. And I thought, oh, I don't want anybody to see me fail. But I'm going to show you, because Dean made a comment and it stuck with me instantly. And he said, this is life on the homestead. You win some and you lose some. and we've been here not even a year. The house wasn't finished until October, so you can count from October till now is basically when we can say we've been here, because that's when we've been doing our thing up here and not just the house build. So I'm going to be completely vulnerable and I'm going to show you. But on the bright side, I do have some more starts in here, some extras that I can replace them with if need be, that I was going to put in the 5x24 bed. Maybe, I'll still have room for that. I don't know. But it's not easy. And it gets romanticized a lot of the time. And that's okay, because there are parts of it that are magical, and I believe in homesteading. I still do. One little thing is not going to, make me think, oh, I can't do this and give up. But I think it hurts your heart, because as a gardener, I started everything from seed this year, like I said. And when you do that, I feel a real connection with my garden. I always have. And especially when you start everything from seed, you have invested the money, you have invested the time, you've watched over them, you've purchased things to assist them like grow lights, you make sure you have great organic soil, you spend countless hours sweating outside, in the sun, working hard, building the beds, finding the right soil, seeing the soil tests, because you want the very best. And so you've done everything you can to ensure they get a good start. And you put them out there. And I am one of those people that plants seeds, and I will go out there in 2 or 3 days and check every day from then on out, expecting to see something until I do see something. And I started some borage inside, not much, but anyway, it did not come up and did not come up, did not come up. And I just about gave up on it. And then one day I came out here and there was a sprout about that big. I was like, oh my gosh, you came, you made it to the party. That's just who I am. So I'm going to show you what happened. I've explained what it did look like. And I'm going to hold on to hope and to faith that we are going to get vegetables out of the garden this year. So let's go for a walk. And then on top of my heart feeling so heavy today, Dean finds this in the loft of his shop today. Yep, it's a garden ornament. And this must be from a long time ago, because it's not even opened. And I thought, wow, what a time to find a garden ornament. I'm going to take a quick peek at it here. Okay, well, this is the head of it, and it looks like it has some solar bulb in the center, and I don't know if it probably lights up at night or something like that, but all right, so here we go. I have bean seeds in one pocket, garden gloves in the other, boots on, and spinner in my hand. We're gonna walk down here. We just got a shower a little bit ago, so I of course waited till we came out. It looks like we might roll in another one. My instant thought was, oh please, please, let's have rain. Let's not have any more hail. So here we go. Yeah. So there's a lot of temporary things about this bed. First being that we have deer netting here all the way around it, because we need to fill up the 5x24 bed finish it before doing all of our permanent fencing, because Dean needs to get the tractor in here. I really don't care about the other 5x40 bed this year. Yeah. So we rented a wood chipper for this weekend, and we're going to take a lot of the little stuff and we're going to chip it up because it needs to, something needs to cover this soil. So let's take a little look. There are seeds in here. Right down this row here is borage, and then I have a cucumber plant here, and I'm going to have an arched trellis for the cucumber to grow up on from one side of the bed to the other. So 5 feet across and probably 4 feet high, 4 or 5 feet high. And then I can visualize this since the trellis will be going up from here to over that wall. These rows, which will be underneath the trellis, this space is where I'm going to plant some of these beans today, and they can grow up underneath of that and outside of it, in front of it a little bit. I felt so defeated when I saw this. In a previous video, I showed my comfrey plant, and I'm just hoping and praying that since this is such a prolific plant, that with the good roots, I'm hoping that we'll get some sprouts at the bottom and see what happens. Okay, and there's Dean with the chainsaw. I hope it's not too loud. Alright, so this is where I planted 2 squash plants. And this is my yarrow. It's looking a little beat up, but not too bad actually. It'll perk up with some sunshine. I've seen this happen before with this plant. Okay, here's where my heart breaks. My tomato. This is an Abe Lincoln tomato, a great big slicer. Yes, they're indeterminate plants. I did plant them deeply because all these little hairs here are actually root stems. I have a feeling I'm going to lose that one. And here's another Abe, and he made it pretty well. Weathered this storm pretty well. And then we have a Brandywine here who weathered the storm pretty well, as did this one. Now we're down here, and I'm wondering about this one as well. That's a pretty strong, I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. And these 2 down here are Amish paste, and I feel the same way as I do about the Abe Lincoln with them. I'm going to give it a couple days just to give the benefit of the doubt. And then these are my peppers. This is a red Savina. Also red Savina. Looking at the center, I'm going to do like the others and give it a couple of days. This one I think is going to be fine. This is the jigsaw pepper with the variegated leaves and all the different color peppers. I see new growth right there, so it's going to be fine, I do believe. Another red Savina, same thing. Jigsaw. This red Savina, yeah. This is also another red Savina, but I'm feeling good about it, as these 2 jigsaws over here. So we move on down. Now I direct sowed 4 okra plants here, so of course they're not damaged because they're underground. Here is my pink and white celery. Now, these celery, I don't think this is bunching type, and it's sown in here, you know, pretty thickly in bunches, but you know, you can cut the tops off and use them just like you would regular celery. And this is my white celery. I have some hope for it. It's pretty beaten up. You can see the leaves on the ground, but it's starting to stand up again. Now, my lettuce, another story, and I almost cried. But I'm not going to lose faith. Yeah. And it's been so, like, big and beautiful, and, you know, look at the Merlot lettuce. Get out of the way. I hope it's not too bright. Just, I mean, I just don't know what to think. Yeah. And these are my calendula right here. They look pretty battered, but they're standing up. I mean, it just completely. And here's the other side of the trellis. This is a mini bell tomato plant, like cherry-sized tomatoes. This is the one that had tomatoes on it year 4 last that were hanging like grapes, and it did fine because I think it's so little into the ground. And this is a little Savina pepper that actually was a break off of another one, and I thought, well, you know, let's just put it in the ground and see what happens. And it looked like it survived. This one is that's a cayenne. This is a cayenne. That other little one right there was a branch off of this one. It came off when I was taking it out of the tray. It actually has a little bloom starting on it, and 3 little buds up here. Well, thank God for that. But there is another Amish paste. Another tomato, pepper. But it has 2 little. This is Santa Fe Grande, and this is an Aji habanero. And I just, you know, I just don't know. I just don't know. Here's a tomato. Another pepper that maybe be fine. I think that tomato's gonna be alright. This jigsaw, they look pretty strong. They've still got like new growth in the center. They took a beating, but they weathered better than I thought they would. Look at this thing here. Poor thing. Poor tomato. And then the oregano, kind of with it like the celery. It got pretty beaten up, but it's starting to stand up again. So it's pretty hardy. But as you can see, we need to get wood chips on the ground, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're very happy with this soil. We purchased it from Animas Topsoil. It's off a farm. Horses have run on it, and they had soil testing done and just had fabulous results. So yes, it looks a little rough at the moment, but you should have seen it a couple days ago when we were first filling it. We have 9-10 inches of soil, and then we have a layer of sticks and compost, and then we have bigger logs and things like that. We did the hugelkultur. So that is what this looks like right now. I'm going to go ahead and get these bean seeds planted. I have Contender green beans. They're all bush bean varieties. I have Contender, Blue Lake, Red Swan, and Dragon Tongue bush bean. The Dragon Tongue bush bean and the Red Swan are new to me. They just looked very beautiful in the catalog. And of course, the basic green beans that always seem to do well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these planted, and then we can chat about the garden. Okay, perfect timing because it's starting to sprinkle. First, let me just say that before, I don't want anyone to have the wrong idea. I know it is not lost on me how extremely blessed I am to have this life. That we have this land and we have the opportunity to live our life on our terms and do these things. I was talking to Dean for a little bit, and I was thinking about this, and I have to remind myself that even though, I'm wanting to kick it into high gear and, do all the things that I had dreamed about doing when we lived in a suburban neighborhood, what it looked like in my mind's eye, what I expected, I have to realize that we've only been here a short time. And I have to realize that I need to get to know this land and do what it needs. That is why we purchased soil, because we don't know. We have had no testing on this soil. We just have a brief history about it. We didn't know what locations were best and didn't really want to put forth the cost and the effort to do that. Raised beds were a plus for me. And I knew the depth that I wanted them, and finding the right soil and finding native soil was just a huge plus. So I know that it's a blessing. It's just a complete kick to the gut. I know there are people waiting to have this type of lifestyle. I know how I felt when I was working in a 10 by 10 garden space, and I would hear somebody be upset about their huge garden, and I had to contend with that for a while. And I also have I have more plants that I can replace with them. It just feels a hard hit sometimes when you are so emotionally attached to your garden, and when you have high expectations for yourself and for it. And I just have to remind myself that I'm not in control. That there are a lot of factors that came into play for us to have this lifestyle. That is on the video we've been trying to make. I was hoping to have it out on June 4, the anniversary date of us arriving in Colorado, but that didn't happen. And, Dean's wanting to make it with me, but, life is happening and we need to work as hard as we can with the daylight and work with the weather, things like that. So I'm not ever going to complain about the rain, getting rain out here. Not happy about the hail, but I'll take the rain. Okay, well, it's not the first garden walk I wanted to go on, but it's what I have right now. And I'm really looking forward to being able to come back and say, look what's springing back up. I'm hoping and praying that that's the case. And, replanting where I have to. So thank you for coming along on a garden walk with me today and having this chat. And as always, thank you for stopping by Rugged Mountain Homestead. We're so glad that you're here. And until next time, take care.